In 1994, I started teaching Spanish to adults in coffee shops in the greater Vancouver area. And I'm convinced that Spanish is one of the easiest languages for an English-speaking person to develop a reasonably good accent in fairly quickly. Let's talk about it. My first language is English, and if that's true for you, then you know that some languages are fairly easy for us to pronounce well and other languages are really tough. The good news is, if you're interested in learning Spanish, I think it's pretty easy to get a fairly good accent right early on in your learning experience. First thing I want to say is I don't think you should worry an awful lot about trying to sound like a native speaker. You probably won't. A few people will. If you start as a child or if you're especially talented, maybe you will. But it's not that common, and it just doesn't matter. What's really important is being able to speak clearly enough that you can be understood, and that is completely achievable for an English-speaking person. Here's what you need to know about Spanish. In my dialect of English, Western Canadian English, we have 13 different vowel sounds. We only use 5 letters to represent, or 6 letters to represent our vowel sounds, but we have a lot of different sounds. In Spanish, there are 5 vowels that are written, and each of them has only one sound. That's really great news. You never have to worry about, is this a long vowel or a short vowel? Does this vowel sound different here than it does here? No, the vowels in Spanish are wonderful. They always sound the same. Every single letter A that you will ever see on a written page in Spanish will sound exactly the same in all the books in all the world, in all of the countries of the world. And all of the E's will sound the same, and all of the I's will sound the same. There's no variations, there's no long ones and short ones. So, what you have to do to sound reasonably good in Spanish is you have to learn how to speak a language, limiting yourself to 5 vowel sounds. What makes us sound awful when we speak Spanish as English speakers is we'll speak Spanish with 13 different vowel sounds, and we've got all kinds of English sounds, and it just sounds really nasty. But in Spanish, you've got 5 vowel sounds with five letters that represent them. Totally learnable, and that's what you want to focus on early on in your Spanish. The other letters of the alphabet are not difficult for us as English-speaking people. Most of them sound something like the English letters. The ones that will trip us up are the letter J, which is called Jota in Spanish. In some countries, it tends to be pronounced further back in the throat, and it sounds really like a ch. But in other countries, it's pronounced very similar and softly, like an English H. So if you can't do a ch, don't worry about it. Just say an English H, and you will be understood. You'll be speaking clearly enough to be understood by anybody. And in some countries, you'll sound exactly like a native, how a native would pronounce the letter J. The other thing that trips us up in Spanish is and I'm talking about Latin American Spanish because that's what I speak, the difference between the letter R and the double R. You have to understand that an R at the beginning of a word is treated like a double R. And this is a sound that some English people find hard to make. And I say don't worry about it at all. Have a little shot of tequila and I'll bet you probably can do it. The letter R in Spanish is very similar to a letter R in many other languages. It's a trilled R. So we say caro. Caro means expensive. C-A-R-O. Caro. You can hear the R. A double R is the same sound, but it's trilled more heavily. It's a little longer. Carro. One of the words for a car, we could say coche or automóvil, but carro with a double R. You can hear the difference. So an expensive car, in Spanish you have to reverse the words and you say a car expensive. So you could say a carro caro. Mi carro no es caro. My car is not expensive. Mi carro no es caro. So you can hear the difference between the double R and the single R. If you can nail that as an English speaker, you're going to sound pretty darn good. And everything else in Spanish is relatively easy. Watch your 5 vowels. Limit yourself to 5 vowel sounds. Try and get your R's right. The letter J, don't sweat it too much. You'll get close enough, and you'll do fine. Other languages are much harder to get a reasonably good accent in. French, for English-speaking people, it's hard for us to get even a reasonably good accent. And Russian, wow, like I have to pray for divine intervention to be able to pronounce certain letters in Russian. And, oh, so God help you if you're learning Russian or if you're learning a tonal language or something like that. But Spanish, don't worry, you can do it.